I acted on my creative audacity. I fully removed the spine of my Hobonichi Weeks. As you can see, it's fully exposed now. And I did this because I didn't realize that it wouldn't lay completely flat, and it needed quite a lot of pressure for it to lay comfortably flat. And I thought that I would use my knowledge of bookbinding to adjust this exactly how I envisioned it. In terms of customizing Hobonichis, this is quite like a drastic change. I had to pull the entire notebook apart. I'll be going through all the steps I took to make this. I looked immediately at the spine and I cut down the middle of the spine. I did this so that there is leeway and I can slowly cut down more to trim it exactly to the size that I needed it to be. If you cut like along the edge, then you might be left with like too little space here to make any adjustments, and it's better to give yourself some room for error. Then I separated the soft cover from the text block. I wanted to pause the time lapse at this point because I wanted to show you that the actual main body of the Hobonichi is exactly the same. So this by itself lays completely flat on its own. It's the exact same thing that they put in the other Hobonichis. It's just that the soft cover, there was like an extra space here, and that made it so that the book couldn't lay flat, and I think it just has to do with this material that they use. But by removing the spine, we eliminate that problem, because then we can just focus on making a hardcover like this. Taking 2 pieces of board. The spine will be exposed, but if you open it like this, and if we do it correctly, the spine, the board won't be touching, or like it's just touching, and the spine will be open. And open spine books are really beautiful to me, so this doesn't irritate me at all. They've reinforced the binding. I think it should be fine. I might pass over this with another layer of BookBinding Glue just to make sure, but I'll be doing that anyways throughout the rest of this process. So what's going to happen from this point on is I'm going to be taking these board pieces that I've cut to size. These are the standard Hobonichi cover sizes, which is 18.6 by 9.5 centimeters. This becomes the base for the reinforcement, or this becomes the thing that makes this a hardcover, and I'll be gluing back on this material on top, and I'll be trimming the sides where the spine was. So I'll essentially have the same color, just one with an open spine, and it lays completely flat. This fabric cover, which is used in bookbinding to make the spine more sturdy, and you want to make sure that you maintain all of the pieces of that on both sides. It doesn't really matter if the inside is this side of the paper is pulled away, because as you can see, I placed another piece of paper over it, and it's a nice color, so it's another customization addition. You're going to want to use a Greyboard and cut it to size of the Hobonichi. I'll put the size on the screen. And then you're going to mount and glue the cover to the board. This becomes the base of the hardback cover. And you're gonna want to use a bookbinding glue. This is the bookbinding glue that I use. And be like quite generous with this. It will just make it sturdier, and because it dries clear, you don't really have to worry about making a mess. I took 2 coffee table books and I put them on top of each other and left it overnight to dry. And the reason why you want to do this is that putting it under even pressured weight prevents the glue from warping any of the papers. The press, I would wait 30 minutes and place seal layers on the edges. This is just to make sure that the edges don't fray. So I would do this 3 times, so 30 minutes waiting, and then I would go in a layer and then wait another 30 minutes and do it again. And after that, you want to leave it overnight to dry in the press so it stays flat. And then the next thing you want to do, you want to reinforce the text block using a paper of your choice. I went for this like lavendery color, just because I thought it would be nice with the green. You don't have to use someone that's like too thick. It just needs to like do its job to seal the text block onto the back of the cover. The Hobonichi has a 4mm rounded edge, and that's what I used to cut the paper to keep it right on the edge here. Let that dry, and then I would reinforce the spine with another 3 layers of glue, just to make everything safe. And I would again press and dry it overnight. And then you're going to want to assemble all the pieces and glue everything together overnight. The main advice that I have with this is that patience really is key. You don't want to rush any part of this process because the risk of warping is really high if you don't let the glue completely dry. And then of course I decorated it and accessorized it with stickers. I used my Sunone bird stickers and my Olive Abuse stickers. You would have seen this if you saw my unboxing on TikTok. And I went for this, like, how should I call this, like fairy kind of theme. It's like a bit watery and there's foresty. I just went with the flow. And yeah, so I didn't like the texture of the melon cover, but I really love the color. So this optimizes it for my use and my preferences. This way I can have a nice color, it lays completely flat, it's an open spine, and it's a hardcover. And personally, I love open spine books, so this I absolutely love. Also, it's just interesting to see how Hobonichi does notebooks. I think it's just looking at it. Also, these beads, these are the ones in my previous video. I got them from Sustrine Green. And oh, the tail is sticking out. I need to glue that. Put them on bookbinding string because it's a bit stronger, and I place the beads on them, and in between each of the Sustrine green beads I place these like circular ones to separate them a bit. That's how I did that. I still have my other Hobonichi to deco, but I want to take my time with it. I was just excited about doing this project because I love a good challenge. Next step in this notebook is probably to add these tabs. I've never really used tabs with my Hobonichis, but I think it would be really cute. Like, even if they were contrasting ones, like the red ones. What do you guys think? I can also use the blue ones so they stick better to the theme. I don't know. We'll see. As you may see on this, I got one of my Grail fountain pens. This is the Pilot Kakuno in the color Ivory. It's a different material and finish to the Pilot Kakuno that I already have. I have like the Family Series one, and it's like bright pink. There's something really charming about this one. I would describe it as like a glutinous rice treat. And then a little bit of my Commonplace update. I went to see the Chainsaw Man movie, and guys, it was phenomenal. Like, it was a bit slow in the beginning. Don't read this if you don't want to be spoiled, but these are kind of my thoughts on it. Fujimoto, the creator, he tends to like flip between really like horrible morality or like moral points and then like twisting them on their head. Honestly, he makes me question his moral compass as well, but it's the reason why his films and work is really interesting. In my opinion, regardless if you agree or disagree with the media that you ingest, it is worth reflecting on it and like be free to love it, be free to hate it, be free to criticize it, whatever you would like. Writing it down is just a better way of like ensuring that you're actually interacting with the media that you're ingesting. I like to think of media as like a part of our nutrition. You're allowing this information into your body. Yeah, so I think Fujimoto like constantly tests our moral framework. I think that's like the main point of his work in general. And whether he like how to say reinforces bad stereotypes or perspectives or not is always like a big discussion. Obviously, because it was animated by MAPPA, it was visually stunning, and the soundtrack was so good. It was such a good film. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's definitely something that you want to stay alert for, like mentally alert for, like be conscious of like what Fujimoto is trying to say. Yeah, so that's the main update with my Hobonichis. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!